Good morning, scientists. Here we are. So today we are talking about sunspots. So here's my little model of the sun, and it's got some spots on it. Yeah, I don't know how these things happen, but anyways. So you get a problem with sunspots. You got to take care of stuff like that. You can't let that go. So we could try to clean this off here, but nothing happens. So believe it or not, the sun up there, it also has spots on it. Now, today your assignment is there's a Newsella article that you're going to read, and it's all about the history of sunspots. So way back in about 1611, I think it was, you're going to read about one guy by the name of Johannes Fabricius. And he was one of the first scientists not to necessarily observe the sunspots, but he actually wrote about them. So he actually followed that whole scientific method where he had a question. He came up with a hypothesis, made lots of observations, and actually proved his hypothesis. So he wrote about that, and when you write about it in that form, that would be called a scientific paper. So he had that paper published, and that's why we know about him today. So he didn't live too long. He actually, I think, passed away, it says, when he was like 29, so he didn't live too long. But here we are 400 years later, and his research actually helps us have a bigger understanding of not only the sun, but of the entire solar system. So way back when he was doing his research, things like a telescope here, that was a fairly new invention. So that wasn't something that was really common yet. So there you go, you can see inside my telescope some. So this whole thing with the telescope, one of the key things that you need clear glass for a telescope. And there's clear glass that was around probably starting sometime in the 1400s, but they didn't really perfect clear glass and be able to make really high quality lenses until probably the late 1400s. And then the first microscope and telescope, they were invented in the 1590s. Believe it or not, the two guys, if you do a little research, who invented it, they're two Dutch guys, and they're actually neighbors. So probably one of them saw the other guy making a microscope and said, hey, I can make a telescope, and probably stole the idea. So that's how it usually goes with those things. And then once people got word of that, people as long as they had access to clear glass, they started making their own telescopes and microscopes all over the place. So you got guys like Galileo that we're going to learn about in another week or two. Kepler, he also made his own telescope. And when you get to 7th grade, you learn about like Leeuwenhoek and all these other guys using microscopes to learn about biology and cells. So that one invention of clear glass led to a lot of scientific discoveries, both in astronomy and biology. So pretty big deal. So all those inventions and discoveries, they all came about right in the early 1600s. Even Isaac Newton making his own telescope and things like that, because he had access to some clear glass. So a lot of that clear glass was made down in Venice, Italy, and there's also some places in Germany they were making clear glass. So if you're able to get your hands on that, you can go ahead and make your own lenses. So it was kind of a big trade secret, how to make good quality trade glass. So that's another story though. So when they're looking at these sunspots, what they notice is that these sunspots, they'd move across the sun and they'd disappear from one side, and then about 2 weeks later, what do you know, they'd turn and show up on the other side. So the only thing that would explain that would be that these sunspots would show that the sun was rotating. So that whole rotation there allowed a better understanding of not just the sun, but we also figured out that things like our own planet and all the other planets, they're also rotating. And it kind of showed that things aren't flat, they're actually a sphere, a ball shape, so including the sun. So that's one more piece of evidence that proved that the sun is at the center and it rotates, and all the other planets rotate around it as well. So that's going to be our topic in a couple weeks as well, the different models of the solar system. And that's about it. So we got the sun rotates just like the Earth rotates here. So this is an example of rotation. So your assignment today, all you have to do is read the article from the Newsella link. You download it. It has all the questions on the article too, but answer the questions on the quiz on Canvas. There's only 4 questions, but read carefully. There are questions you got to think about and kind of analyze the article. So take your time, don't rush through it. If you read the article, spend some time doing that, then spend some time answering the questions. Like I said, there's only 4 of them, shouldn't take you too long. And that's it. All right. So inbox me if you have any questions. Stay curious. See you tomorrow.